Can you confirm that you can see the beginning slide for module 3? Okay, it's working. Very good. So we just did the check-in on the chat. I'm going to basically go over the 6 concepts or 6 notions that can also be steps for you to plan a participatory process for your learning environment. These are more questions than anything else, so that's how I structured them. What you see here are the 6 questions, and on the bottom part, you see the tool or the little piece of information that was given that helps you answer the question. So the questions are kind of very simple. They start with these W words. So why do you want to involve learners in the first place? What are you trying to achieve with a participatory process? We linked very strongly participation with inclusion and access. So one of the reasons why you might want to do that, it's because you want to make the space more inclusive, and you're trying to see through participation how you could do that. But that's just an example. And so, but we'll go through all the tools. Second question is, who are the people that are actually participating, and what are the conditions? What are their specific needs? When are they getting involved? What power are you willing, or is it possible to share with the learners? What is the method you will choose, and how do you make sure that it was meaningful for them? So in terms of the tools or the piece of information, we saw that there can be different intentions for connecting participation and learning. We saw that learning could be through participation. It could be for participation, meaning trying to promote active citizenship. You can learn about participation, actually understanding more about what are the dynamics of participation. We saw it from a rights and well-being frame, but participation is a skill that you can learn. And you can also have participation in learning processes or spaces, like, for instance, giving power to learners to influence or to decide upon certain structural aspects of what you're offering. For instance, student councils is an example of that. So in terms of who the learners are involved, this is just a wheel of privilege is a model to map different social groupings, social profiles, and a kind of an analysis of the power that they have in society because of those identities. So you need to look at the specificity of your groups, but whatever group you're working with, it's important to look at this dimension and understand if there are already structural blocks to different social groups' access to the offer that you're bringing, but also whether the processes that you are offering in your educational offer are inclusive. So this is a reflection that you need to make for yourselves when you're picking your case, because every group has its own composition. The when are learners involved, this is just to decompose a little bit the moments or the spaces in which the learners are going to participate. You don't need to make everything participatory. You could be very specific about, okay, I'm going to design my course for the group of women that live here in Redondo. And so I'm going to ask them, what would be important for you to learn in order to feel more able to enter the job market, for instance. And so I could involve them just in defining the questions and priorities for the educational offer that I'm bringing. But maybe I already defined my course, and I want to understand more about how they want to learn, what are their needs, what is the schedule that would better match their availability. So maybe I just want to involve them in understanding what they already know and need. So that's point 2. Or maybe I want to design with them the learning methods that they're going to use in the process. So it don't feel overwhelmed by the idea of participation. You can really pinpoint a place or a moment in the educational process where it makes more sense, and start there and start small. It doesn't need to be a big endeavor from the get-go. So then when you've identified that, you would decide, sometimes you don't decide, sometimes you do what you can. What degree of power do you want to share with the learners? So is this a matter of just consulting them? You want to get the information, and then you're going to use that information and come back to them and explain to them how you've used that information? Is it more like you want to share the decision making? Maybe there are differentiated tasks between learners and educators, or is there something where you can really give the power to the learner to lead the action, and your role there is to facilitate and to create a space for the decision process to happen, or the learning process to happen? So these are some of the methods. I put them here. We didn't necessarily go through all of them. We saw some of them in the case studies in module 2. We saw surveys, interviews, we saw focus groups, we saw photo voice, we saw play-based research, we saw project-based learning. But there's really, when we also saw differentiated education, there's really a lot of methods available for different modalities of power sharing. So once you've answered the first four questions, then really, you can even create your own methods. But know that there's a lot of material available for how you implement these methods out there. And if you are curious about any of these, you can ask now, actually, if you want to ask, if you want to put something in the chat, or just open your mic, or you can contact me. I'm not expert in all of them, but I could certainly direct you to resources where you could learn about how to apply these methods. Just checking if something comes up in the chat. Okay, so this is the last tool, and that means, okay, so you planned your learning process for a specific group, you know when, you know how. Then there are certain conditions, or certain requirements for the process to be meaningful for both you as an educator, the institution you might be affiliated with, and for the learners themselves. So these are the 9 requirements that we saw in the last module. These are conditions that you need to make sure that they are in place to guarantee that the process is actually meaningful. So these are 3 groups, we saw them. So these are about what the learners will experience, what your commitment is to the participatory process, and what are the conditions that the learning environment offer, which also includes accessibility and inclusion. Okay, so ready to start applying these concepts to your own cases? We're gonna do, I called it the participation clinic, because the idea is like you come to the doctor with a case, and so the medical team is gonna, in the clinic, is gonna look at the case with care, and applying these tools to try to improve the case. So I'm gonna ask you to, if you did not get the resource back through your email, I'm also gonna put it here on the chat so that you can download it. This will be just for this exercise. This is important because you're gonna want to see the instructions, and you're gonna want to have the little worksheet available to you while you're doing the group. And once you're no longer in the big group, you won't have access to that. So can you please download it or open it and let me know with a little icon of any kind? You can choose your own emoji that you've downloaded, so that I know that there's at least a critical mass that got it. Okay, thank you, Anna. Okay, thank you, Ruxandra. Perfect. Thank you, Xavier. Mhm. Okay, good. Thank you, Katerina. That's good too, Alexandra. Perfect. Okay, Besmina, got it. So we have some, let's hope that you will be at least distributed in the group. As long as there's at least one person in the group that has this handout, then we can continue. So in the pack that you just downloaded, there will be one worksheet, which is this one that you're gonna use for your group work. The worksheet has the 6 questions that we just went through, and in the column that says present situation, it has also the reference to the little tool that helps answering the question. The idea is that there will be a person in the group that will volunteer with a spontaneous case from their practice. Can be something very simple, a lesson, a moment, a space, and you're going to say, okay, I'm curious to see how we could make this more participatory. So I'm going to tell you about the present situation, maybe telling you a little bit why I want to make it more participatory, what kind of people are involved, what kind of power is available to be given to the learners. And then the rest of the people will help them think about this together. And you can answer the strategies and the ideas that you come up in the third column where it says change. Normally the file that you downloaded, you can write on it directly. So, okay, so the steps are the following, but those are also in the form. So in the beginning, you'll identify 3 roles: a person to give a case, someone that keeps the time and facilitates a little bit the conversation, and someone that will take notes and report back after this. Then you'll have 10 minutes of case exploration. In the beginning, the case giver is explaining what is the situation in more detail, and the other ones also have some opportunity to ask questions to deepen the understanding. Then the second block is finding strategies. So you define, okay, what kind of power I want to give to learners in which moment, and then the group just explores different strategies for making the whole process or environment more participatory. At the end, the case giver will say, okay, this is what I got from this conversation. Thank you for these wonderful insights. And then we'll come back to the plenary, and the reporter will have up to 5 minutes to share with the rest of the group what were the main insights that came out of the group. So in total, you'll be in the group for 40 minutes. Are you ready to do that? If you have any problem, there is an option in the breakout room to call me, so I can go into your small group and I can help the process or clarify anything if you need. And otherwise, you should be good to go. Yeah. So no, break not yet. That will be after after your group. So Leah, could I ask you to paste the instructions on the chat, but also prepare the breakout groups? I'm trying to find you, Leah. Yes, there you are. Yeah, perfect. And so if you didn't get,
should be open now.
What, the breakout groups? I'm gonna start. What can you tell us about your case? I don't know who
I'm gonna be the reporter, so I was printing like everything to have it in front of me, but
Wow.
I can, perhaps you can help me a little bit because I'm the first one also, so I was waiting to be inspired by my other colleagues.
Don't worry, there's no way you can get this wrong. So
So, the case we are studying, I was giving my case and also picking up the brain of my colleagues of the group that they gave me.
very good. So what did you come up with as what were the opportunities, and what strategies or ideas did the group come up with?
So we said that, for example, the purpose, like why are learners involved, it would be through participation, because there is Q&A sessions, there is forums, we are gonna do interactive sessions with them. There gonna be academic lectures and unilateral, like to give them reading recommendations, but in the reading recommendations, we don't say these are these 3 books. They are also free to choose from the reading recommendations what they want to read, what is more interesting for them. We will give them like a kind of choice. But yes, they're learning for participation, because they are gonna learn for a democratic Ukraine.
That's true, yeah.
Learning about participation, because there is a lot of political science, and we will have like content on like if one day they are part of the European Union, how democracy works in the European Union, and what are the democracy requirements to enter in the European Union. And participation in learning is something that we would like to explore, but for the moment, we will be always available for questions, for feedback, and for the moment, we are going to produce only the first of 4 modules, and we will produce the second module once we have the feedback on the first one. So we'll try to accommodate. For the first module, we are going to give it done, but for the second one, perhaps we do small changes according to their feedback.
Okay, you should be seeing this. So it's okay, you can just nod or, yeah, all right, thank you. So living systems perspective, this was promoted a lot by 2 scientists, biologists. I think they were Chilean, which was Varela and Maturana. And they were looking at how living organisms function as a metaphor for any other kind of living system. So we form a living system, our house is a living system, a school is a living system, a city is a living system, okay? And so they would say that in every system, in every living organism, there is one central piece, which is the DNA, which is somehow making sense of the experience. And so the way living systems thrive is by interacting with their neighboring systems. So there's something in the outer system to exchange with, to incorporate, to feel connected to. And that is the essence of participation. So if I'm a student, how do I get out of my own living system and expand and engage with something beyond my, let's say, my bubble? And through that, by engaging with it, by participating, I learn, I grow, I thrive, I maintain my vitality. And so when you think of this, the role of educators can be of what are the ways in which we can curate, structure, support, facilitate this interaction between living systems. And that living system could be a student. You can think of it as one person, but it could also be a community. How do I support the interaction of a community with its surrounding systems so that this community can grow and thrive and learn and sustain itself? So the Learning for Wellbeing Foundation, where me, Kari, and Leah work, we were interested in these very essential core capacities that we as human beings have that support these relationships, that support the way we relate with ourselves, with others, and the environment. So I'm going to share what these core capacities are. And while I share them, I'm going to ask you this question. Is there one that when you hear it or you see it, you're going to say, ah, yeah, that's something that I really rely on. That's something that I use it a lot in the way I work, in the way I work with learners, in the way I relate with the world. Yeah, it's just for us to end with a sense of we already got something, we already got a strength that we can use in this work that we can rely on. So the core capacities, they have these nice illustrations. I'll let you know which one they are one by one. So the first one is discerning patterns, which is the power to perceive how things are connected, how things are working, and how the different parts of a system. Second one is listening, which is the power to tune in to what surrounds us, whether that's people, plants, Some people are really good at listening to animals. Embodying, that's a power to relate to our body and sensations as a source of knowledge, not just our rational minds. Observing, that's the power to place attention either very widely, broadly, or closely. Some people pay attention to the larger things, some people pay attention to details. Inquiring, that's a power to seek what can things move forward or how knowledge and actions can expand. Relaxing, it's often forgotten. It's the power to ease tensions in thoughts, feelings, and body. And like sometimes we say that relaxing is a kind of a primer capacity because it helps all the other ones. You listen better when you relax, you observe better when you relax. Sensing is the power to engage with what is not visible. Sometimes people think this is intuition or fine sensitivity, or even imagination can be a form of sensing. Reflecting, it's the power to explore other views, look at things from different angles, but also look at things from a past perspective, future perspective. And last but not least, empathizing. It's the power to know, see, and feel with and through other people's perceptions. Okay, so have a good look at these 9 and think for yourselves which one feels like a strength for you. I'm also gonna ask Leah to pass it in the chat so that you have them all there. And we are gonna do the final exercise for the training course with a little exchange in pairs, where you get to share with your pair which core capacity feels like you have as a strength in you and why. Okay, if you got your core capacity, you picked one that feels like a reliable resource, use an emoji to let me know that you're ready to go into the groups so that I know that enough people have got theirs. Okay, thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Elena. Mohammed. All right. They are in the chat, also repeated in the chat in case you cannot see it. You can copy it into another, whatever you have to hold the text while you go to the breakout groups. So there, can we send people into pairs? It's just 5 minutes. So you're going to get 2.5 minutes each just to say which core capacity and why you picked it.
Yeah, just it's up to the participant to enter a room, or do you want me to change the?
No, you mean just send people automatically.
Okay, I'll change this.
It will be a random pairing.
Should be good.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that there isn't anyone that is not in a pair. Okay. You put the timing? Yeah.
I don't think Aisha is participating, so maybe we should move someone to.
You can move Esmira to another.
Yeah.
You can move it to 9 because Wala is not.
Okay.
There's also Cecile. I'm going to join. I'm going to join room 11. Okay, no, they're good now.
Do you need us to join a room?
No, now Sanam is alone.
Sam is alone, no? In cell in room 7.
Okay.
Room 7, yeah.
So either I go there and I do it with her.
Or you want me to?
Sanam is back to this room. Sanam, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. I joined this
Yeah,
group
you were alone.
alone.
We were
By
talking about
Wallah.
it. Let me just see if Walla is with us, and maybe we can make a group with both of you. Walla? No. Okay. So, can you, Sanam, can you join again? Okay, I need to welcome everybody. Just out of curiosity, can I ask you to write on the chat? Yes, exactly. You already start. Write on the chat what is the core capacity that you picked. I just want to see a little bit the landscape of capacities that we have available here in our little group. I like this because, you know, sometimes educators, they're really good because they're really good at understanding things from the perspective of their students, and they can meet them there in the way they plan and deliver their instructions. But other teachers are incredibly inspiring because they're really good at connecting things and helping students seeing the bigger picture. And there isn't one way to be a good teacher. You know, we all remind good teachers in our life for different reasons. And so it's good to remind a little bit what are our core capacities. What is the thing that makes us distinctive, our own way of doing this work? Yeah, because there isn't really just one way. We are about to close our workshop. I just wanted to do a little recap, which will take 30 seconds. Mohammed, I see you have your hand up. Is there something that you wanted to say about the core capacities?
No, it's just like it's considered as a remark on the core capacities. I mean, they truly serve as an advantage to the teacher, the educator towards his say learners. So it's a way to get the students out of their shell, or.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to make them feel creative and yeah, and that's really what matters to both parts, you know.
Mohammed, I really need to close because we're about to be on time. So if that's okay, I just want to show one last slide so that we can close this round. It will take another 2-3 minutes, so I'm going to be out of time. I hope that's okay for you. So what I wanted to make sure that you get is the evaluation of the course. So it's really important for us that you let us know how this went for you and if there are ways that we could improve. There's in the slides that we sent you, there's a link to the survey. There's also this QR code if you want to use your phones right now and do that survey right now, and this way you're done with it. And I also asked Leah to paste it on the chat so that you have access to that link. So maybe you could do it immediately after this course if you have 5 minutes to let us know how it went for you. There were also some people that asked about a certificate of participation. So if you want that, you also have Maria's email in the chat. You can write to her and ask for, give the full name that you want to have in the certificate, and you will get one. And last but not least, there is a self-paced training course that is online, which has essentially the same structure of this online workshop, but with more extended information and with more exercises. So that's all free and open. If you want to use the materials there for your own purposes, or if you want to revisit some of the concepts, you're very welcome to register to that course as well. And last but not the least, the key points from our module. I wanted to invite you to think about participation as a gyroscope, a way to look at your practice from different angles and help improve it. Remember that the participation is not a one-off thing. It's actually a continuous process. There's always ways in which you can consider how you can improve or increase participation. Participation from a living systems perspective helps the systems stay alive. It enriches, it helps it evolve. And the last, don't remind that you already have strengths and capacities that help you in your path as an educator. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for being with us for these 3 modules of the course. And if there's anything that I can be of help, or anyone from the team, don't hesitate in writing to us. You should have our emails from the preparation emails that you got in the course. So thank you very much. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for the messages in the chat. And
thanks a bunch for your utmost upbringing and yeah, that you brought to the online webinar, which truly sounds captivating and yeah, promising to us as let's say as educators or even participants. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing you more in the upcoming training courses. Why not?
Yeah, maybe if you get one of those exchange programs that are eligible for Moroccan youth, you can come to Brussels or to Redondo, which is the place where I live right now.
Possible.
Thank you, Mohammed. I wish you all the luck. Thank you for everyone that is sending the messages in the chat. I'll see you in another time. I let you go.